1st, 2017, and it's Pride Month, John. I think we should start
I
off.
didn't even know we had a whole month for this, to tell the truth.
Well,
Not a hater.
No.
Not a hater. Just didn't know it was a whole month.
Well, we're proud and prideful of some of our trades that we did. And somebody, I guess, tweeted you and said that you had, do you ever have losing trades? So let's do one that's maybe not so prideful.
Sure. Let's start with a not prideful one. Neighbors, NBR. Here's one that I piled into about, I want to say only about a week ago or so.
I know.
Andrew.
I still own it. I doubled down on it. I still have it. But go ahead.
Did you see the roll that they did today, my friend?
Yeah. Do share.
They rolled down from the 11s, which is what they were buying maybe a week or 2 weeks ago, folks. They were buying the 11 calls of this, at that time, $10 stock. Now it fell just under 9, and the apparent buyer of those calls, the 11 calls, has rolled down to the 9 calls. That's what they're buying now. So they sold out of their 11s, rolled them down to the 9s, which I think is a prudent thing to do. I am unlikely to put any more money into the trade, however, because when they go against me, I try to pretend that I never have done it, and I just want to either close it out at the loss and move on, but this one's trading for a dime, so it's not worth closing out. So instead, I'm just going to say it's a home run if it goes, and if it doesn't, I'm not going to waste even the commissions on rolling it down.
Okay. I played it a little differently. I tripled down on it.
Nice.
No, not really, but I got a nice cost base on it now. But it pays a dividend. It's a like almost a 3% dividend, so I can hold on to it. Oil bad today, oil good someday.
To hear that. Well, we had a good jobs report as far as the ADP side of it today, which is private sector. They were saying accelerated hiring last month. The month that we just closed the books on yesterday. We added 253,000 jobs, so that's a good sign, and that's helping the markets to the tune of a triple-digit gain in the Dow and a double-digit gain in the S&P and NASDAQ.
Okay. Goldman Sachs, I took $1.50 off of that trade. I did the Januaries, the 110s.
Nice.
On the podcast yesterday. But I didn't get piggy.
No.
Just took a little off.
I mean, top of the show today, the judge asked me, okay, John, so what about the financials? And what do you do here? Are they a buy? And I said selectively. And he said, well, how do you know? And I said, well, when they have a really big drop, like, again, we were talking on the podcast yesterday.
2 days ago. 3 days now,
yeah.
This is.
Yeah. When the London whale hits, and you're a, $200 billion bank, and they're talking about you, losing $2 to $4 billion, ain't the end of the world. You don't take your stock down 20% on that. But they did, and it made a great buying opportunity, almost a generational buying opportunity down at 34 or whatever it was on the lows, 32 maybe even.
On what stock?
For J.P. Morgan I'm talking about
Morgan.
with the London whale. And then in this one, as you highlighted at the beginning of the week, Andrew, people were against Goldman. They stole this trade. They bought it for 31 cents on the dollar. I guarantee you or I can't buy this. Even in the 100 million range, we couldn't buy this trade for what Goldman did. Somebody needed to get out. They needed to get out bad. Guess what? They did get out bad. They sold to Goldman at 31 cents on the dollar for these 2014 Venezuelan bonds. And, people got upset, began protesting outside the headquarters. You buy when there's blood in the streets. Protests might not have resulted in blood, Andrew, but they certainly resulted in blood in the stock, and it fell all the way down from 224 yesterday. When it was 210, I banged out the 205 puts. They're virtually worthless already.
You know what?
And
I was thinking,
I'll take it.
I've been thinking.
I'll take it.
I've been thinking, because I used to sell.
Let's hear what you were thinking.
I've sold bonds for years. You have your $1 million ticket, your $1.5 million, your $2 million CMO. I mean, those are big tickets. 500's a big ticket. But $3 billion? I mean,
How'd you like to be that salesman?
Wow. I mean, that's just, I don't even think a Bloomberg could handle the ticket on that. You'd have to like, could I get another zero? I'm going to put it in 3 tickets. I'm going to put it in $100 million tickets. I don't even know if that's possible. I guess it is. I mean, who am I? I'm stupid, but I can imagine. So they bought it 30
Really, I'm
cents
going to put it on $100 million tickets.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll send them over to you. I'll fax them over to you. My God. Yeah, that's a big trade.
But
30
as
cents
we're
on the dollar.
speaking,
What?
the stock's $215 and change. So it's rallied $5 to give you guys an idea of how dramatically those putties shrank in value. Let's see, GS. Let me see how my putties did.
Did you do the Junes? Or did you do the
I
Julys?
did.
Okay,
I did the Junes.
Front month, or
Uh-huh.
they're 4 cents. 4 by 5.
Nice.
The one
so
day.
Let's see.
You talked to 1 day. They're only 1 day.
I had those, and I had the June 17th, regular June expirations.
Those are worth $1, like not even 98 cents.
Okay, hold on. Let me see.
Job.
So
suck that premium out.
Suck that premium. So sold them yesterday, Andrew, for $227, and as you say, they're $1 now. That's what's known as being Buffett. You know, getting paid for providing the insurance that somebody so desperately needed at 205 in Goldman Sachs that they paid me $227. That's $227 per put, and you know, you've made half of that profit already in 1 day.
Right, ka-chinga. We've got some.
Cha-ching.
We've got some questions from YouTube. I'll read these to you, since you often say at the end of the podcast, leave your questions and we'll answer them, and we can't not ask the questions. The first one was about Scaramouche, and said, "Are you still?" I have to look it up. I sent it to you. You know, did you get the?
Yeah, about like that he was going to be in with the administration, and maybe now he's
like,
not,
what's he
and
doing?
so forth.
Yeah, like what's he doing?
I am still, and if you Google his name and mine, you'll see that we have been in talks. You won't see me quoted in any of those articles because Mr. Scaramucci leaked those out. But yeah, we're in talks about doing some wealth management together, and perhaps even involving the Chinese HNA, the firm that bought his firm. So to the part of the question, do I know that it's closed and he's got the money in the bank? I know it's good. I don't know that the trade has cleared, as they say, Andrew. I don't know that it's cleared yet and the money's in the bank, but I know that the people that bought his firm for whatever $240 million have that and probably put a couple zeros on the end of it.
Okay.
In their war chest. So I'm not worried about the trade clearing for Anthony. And maybe he's not going to be in with the administration. That's good for me if he's not, because I'd love to have him, you know, more actively involved with us than passively.
All right, so more to come. That was sent in by Kirk, K-I-R-K. Thanks, Kirk, for posting and actually being
Kirk.
real and actually changing your avatar and participating. And the other one comes from Alex S. Any tips on how to play the VIX? I'll let you take that, man. VXX, VIX, or whatever VIX, something VIX, anything VIX.
I almost never play the VIX itself. What I prefer, and what was this guy's name again, Andrew?
His name's Alex S.
Alex. What I like to do, Alex, is play the S&P 500. So in other words, and how do you do that? Well, you buy a put spread in the S&P 500 because instead of buying the VIX, if we have a downturn in the market, obviously the S&P puts will become more dear. And so I will have a put spread in the S&P to profit from that. You can have the VIX calls, and the VIX can actually pop, you know, by 8 and 10 and 20%, and you can actually watch it just waste away and not make you any money.
Do you know we
we
call that right
it's
church,
a tough
wrong
trade.
Right church, wrong pew.
Yep.
So don't get caught in that church.
No, I prefer to, if I think the VIX is too high, I prefer to buy call spreads in the S&P. If I think it's too low, I buy put spreads in the S&P.
Okay. Moving on. Fresh meat for today. Anything for our listeners to maybe take a look at?
Gosh, so much. I mean, the beginning of a new month, and they are buying everything, it seems. We knew, or we thought, Andrew, that wasn't just neighbors, but that they would be buying a lot of these energy names, and boy, are they. Even neighbors is seeing a little love finally. But the big trades, I've seen Halliburton go off in really big numbers. I've seen Oasis Petroleum, OAS. That one hit hard this morning, and we bought that. Unusual option activity in OAS. Now the stock has moved from, a negative opening to move into the upside nicely. Caterpillar, CAT, August 105 calls, big buyers there. But I think you've got a lot to watch. And Skechers again, SKX, another big Skechers trade. This time they were buying the, they traded out of their June 25s, which they just bought a couple days ago, and they were buying June 28s. So they were right at 23, they were right at 25, now they're betting it goes up through 28.
Okay, well, that's a lot to go on. And if you want more information, you can go to Investitute.com to get more information.
Yep.
Or we post these things lifetime, or you can kind of get us like here on the podcast.
Encourage you to do it, folks. Even if you just took out a test or a trial or something like that. There's a lot of great information there. There's an education center, and you can see a little bit of what we're talking about if you just go over to Investitute.com. And by the way, tell a friend or two about that. Also tell them about iTunes and YouTube, because either of those two you can subscribe, and knock on wood, Andrew, the numbers are going up every day.
Yeah, it's amazing.
From people listening and or watching. Because we do some videos too, not just audio.